This is episode 29 of the Yay for Business podcast. It's me, Courtney Shaw, and in this episode, I'm going to be giving you 10 specific upgrades to make to your services to prepare them for premium pricing so that you'll actually be getting clients at these higher rates. So if that sounds good to you, stay tuned. So before we dive into the extra exciting topic today, this is going to be such a good one. I just have a really good feeling about it. I want to remind you or let you know in case you're not already aware that this Friday, April 30th, now I'm second guessing my dates here, Friday, April 30th, we are going to be opening ticket sales for early bird tickets for our Yay for 100K virtual conference that's happening May 31st, June 1st, June 2nd, and also a VIP extra special bonus day on Friday, June 4th, which we'll tell you how to get access to for no additional cost after you get your ticket to the main conference. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that in case you want to block off that whole week. Really exciting. You're going to want to get an early bird ticket because there's going to be some perks to that. So if you already know you want a ticket, the sooner the better. Why this conference? Why are we creating this Yay for 100K conference? We want to create a space, a container for you to work on your business. This is the biggest thing. I think the biggest problem that people, business owners at this place of business where, client work is coming in and maybe you still feel like you need more clients, but you're also at the same time really busy, right? Like it's kind of happening at the same time. And you kind of are just at the mercy of reacting to everything that's happening in your business and you're not carving out time to work on your business. That is what this conference is all about. I've talked about this ad nauseum in several podcast episodes. So make sure to, go ahead and listen to those, especially around time management and all that kind of stuff. We want to be creating and carving out space to work on our business. I also want to give you a taste of what we do with our clients inside of Yay for 100K. So the conference is different than the program because it's a conference. If you are a Yay for 100K client, your ticket for the conference is it's a perk of working with us. So this conference is absolutely for you as a client. We are also opening up ticket sales for the general public. It makes me feel really fancy and big, right? But this conference is for you as well to sort of put pause on everything you're doing inside of the program, inside of your business. Let's zoom out. Let's take some time to work on our businesses and do that really intentionally. Okay. So there's going to be 6 core sessions at the conference over 3 half days. So you're going to get 2 in-depth keynote talks from me. Details on, what those topics are will be available on Friday. We have 3 amazing speakers doing sessions. So excited. We have such exciting speakers to share with you. I'm not going to let you know who they are right now because I'm going to talk about more about that later. I just kind of want to give you enough. I'm going to dangle that carrot a little bit, right? I wouldn't be a good marketer if I didn't do that. So we're going to have 3 incredible speakers coming in to talk about specific topics around packaging and launching and building audience. And then we also are going to have a really, really cool panel of entrepreneurs who are booking out their services and talking about how they're booking out clients regularly with streamlined services. So that's going to be really, really helpful. This conference is for service providers who either want to streamline your services and book them out, or you are booked out and you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because you're so busy that you're not really sure what to do to grow, right? But you're going to burn out if you continue like that. So again, early bird offer is going to be available on Friday. All the details will be available then. I want you to just consider what it would be worth to you to just come to one session. Our tickets are going to be insanely affordable. And also we'll have a really cool bonus for those of you who decide to get a ticket for that early bird offer. Okay. So that's my little teaser for conference stuff coming up. I'm going to be talking a lot about that. So get ready. Today's episode, talking about upgrading your services for premium pricing. This is the foundational stuff. This is going to lead actually really logically into us talking about the conference, and what you're going to learn at the conference is going to build on everything that I'm going to talk about today in this episode. When I was a service provider, long wondered, what do I need to do? How do I get to that point where I can charge higher prices for what I do, because right now I don't feel like I can do that. So that's what I'm going to dive into in today's episode. I don't want to like drag this intro out anymore. It's already getting too long for my taste. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Hello, Courtney here, and I have a really great topic for you all today. This is a topic I've been wanting to do for a while, and we're going to talk about, for those of you who are really curious about getting your services to a higher price point. You want to have more premium pricing. You want to be able to charge more. I want to talk about 10 pieces of your service, 10 elements of your service, upgrades, we could say, that you're going to want to make to your current service packages in order to justify those premium prices. So when we talk about raising prices on services, it can often feel really scary because it's like, well, but like, what if people aren't going to like pay me that much? Or what if people are already like pushing back on the pricing I already have? Or how can I justify raising the price of my service if nothing about my service has changed? That's what I want to address here, is that we are going to upgrade your service. We are going to do all those things. We're going to justify that, not only justify the price, right? Because your service is going to be creating value for your clients. We're also going to be getting momentum for that price, because we're going to talk about the marketing aspects that we need to upgrade in order to get those premium pricing clients. And premium pricing, I'm just using that term. It doesn't really mean anything. It's really just like charging more. If you want to double your prices, it's all relative to where you're at right now. Okay. So if you have specific questions about what that means for you, go ahead and pop them in the comments so I can come back and answer those questions and chat with you about that a little bit more. And then it's also going to help us to get those clients coming in, because we're going to talk about the sales process and how we can upgrade that process for you. I'm super excited to talk about this today because I feel like raising prices is something everybody wants to do, but then feels like they can't do it. So I have a few resources for you I'm going to mention right now, and then I'll remind you of as we go. I have a client capacity calculator that I think you're all going to want to grab. It's totally free. It's all over my website. The link is in the description of this live. I've got a little section called resources mentioned. It says, grab the client capacity calculator that I mentioned at CourtneyShaw.com/calculator. So go grab that. That calculator is going to help you see the math behind your pricing. So there's a lot of the mindset and the strategy and all of that. The calculator is the reality check on the numbers. The numbers are not judging you. The numbers don't care how you feel. The numbers don't care, if you have imposter syndrome. The numbers are going to tell you, based on your revenue goal, based on how much time and energy is going into offering your services, and based on your current pricing, how many clients you need, and help you adjust those numbers so you can even that out so that you know how many clients you need and that you can actually serve that many clients to hit your revenue goal. Like, this is basic stuff that very few service providers actually figure out and is absolutely necessary. So make sure to grab that, because that's going to happen for you to raise your prices. We need to see if that price is even reasonable. We've got to have to get all those factors in place there. Okay. I also talk about the calculator in depth in episode 18 of the Yay for Business podcast. It's called How to Price Your Services. The direct link to that podcast episode is in the description. You can also just go on your phone and go to your podcast app and find that it's episode 18. And then this is like what I'm going to talk about today. These 10 upgrades literally is phase 1 of our curriculum inside of Yay for 100K. So if you want to work with us, we'd love to work with you. You can apply to work with us, get more information about Yay for 100K, that program, etc. Link is there. Okay. So let's talk about 10 upgrades. I'm waiting for the oven to preheat for my cauliflower crust pizza. So this is what I'm doing in the meantime. Talk about these 10 upgrades that you're going to want to make to your service to justify those higher prices and feel really good about it, and then actually get the clients for it, right? So the first 3 upgrades are going to be focused on the delivery of your service, the actual quality of the work, which I know is something that's on a lot of your minds. The second 3 items, 4 through 6, are going to be about the marketing of your service. Okay. It's going to be about how are you attracting and nurturing leads to come to you. The third 3 items. 7 through 9 are going to be about sales. And then 10 is going to be sort of just one that's a little bit apart from all those little nuts and bolts strategies. Okay. So let's start with the delivery. Number 1, if you want to charge premium pricing and you want to have a business that is sustainable and that is not going to burn you out doing one-on-one services, it is absolutely crucial that you create one signature package. Okay. We have to get you out of like the 3 offers model, right? The like small, medium, large. And we have to get you away from the proposal writing model. Those are fine. I don't want you to feel bad about having those models. They're fine for getting started. That's so common. It's so common. I can't even tell you. The signature service model is far less common, but it's what needs to happen and can happen for every industry. I've never worked with a service provider in any industry where it was like, oh, actually you can't do this, so that we can really hone in on your marketing and really elevate your package by having this one thing that you're known for. When we write proposals and we're reactive to what people are asking for, or we have sort of like different size packages, it cheapens our brand. It makes it feel like I kind of do all these different things versus like, this is the thing I do it this way and here's why. If you're not sure how to develop that, that's what we do inside of Yay for 100K. I also have lots of free resources on this stuff. Like just go to my blog, go to my YouTube channel. I have so many resources on this. So I'm just going to send you there to learn more about when I talk about creating one clear signature package. I talk about this all the time. What I don't want you to do is freak out that you have to figure out what that signature package is. It's not on you to figure out. You're not the expert at that. I would really prefer that you follow a process to do that so that you don't create the wrong signature service. And what I mean by the wrong signature service, I did this, was creating a signature service, but creating one that didn't sell because I did all the packaging, right? Like I had the package. It was the same for everybody, all of that, but it wasn't what people wanted. So we need to make sure that we're following a process for making that package based on what is being asked for by your audience and what the people you want to work with actually want. Okay. So that's number 1, one clear package. Number 2 is that within that package, okay, we need to upgrade our delivery process. So how do we do that? How do we upgrade the delivery of our service? It's by creating step-by-step delivery process. Now, this is not possible if you don't have one package, or if you're doing custom services. You can't create a step-by-step process because it's going to be different for everybody. It's so much to manage. It's like literally not possible for one person to manage all that work and do it efficiently. So you're losing a lot of money by doing proposal-based work. That's my belief. That's what I've seen over the last 10 years. Okay. So we need that step-by-step delivery process. I want you to map out what happens first, second, third, last, right? When I'm working with a client inside this package. And I want you to take your best guess at mapping out that process and like have fun with this. Like really sit and go, okay, what I want to design, I'm designing the experience that my client's going to go through. And you're just mapping out every single step of the way. The different touch points you'll have with the client. When do you have calls with the client? When do you need a questionnaire from the client? Do you have the kind of work where it's creative work where, you're going to need to like send drafts to the client and you're going to need their feedback. Like those are steps that we want to map out. When are you going to be emailing the client? When do you need to schedule calls with the client? So if you have more of like a coaching service, then you're going to want to be really clear on, okay, our calls are at this sort of frequency. And then here's how they're going to book calls every time. Here's what I'm going to need to do as pre-work before each call, etc. So we want to streamline all of that. This is what's going to create an efficient business. It's going to save you so much money. It's not only going to save you so much money, having a well-documented, systematized delivery process for your service is a massive upgrade. This is what takes you from Amateurville to Professionalville. This is the difference between those are kind of winging it and what I would consider sort of like a newbie or a freelancer. Sometimes it's not the same thing, but a newbie or a freelancer, to someone who is like a boss running their own business. That this is how I do things. This is the service. This is the process. When you do this, automatically justifies higher pricing. Right? Because you have your shit together. This is how we do it. Clients love that. They're going to absolutely love that. So that's the second upgrade that you're going to need to make to justify higher prices. And even doing that a little bit is going to justify a higher price. But we outline and what we teach is like a full, like We give like email templates, forms to send, like every single piece you need to deliver your service to your client, and make sure you have all those systems in place in managing that client work. So that we do it with our clients inside of Yay for 100K. So if you want to learn more about that, go ahead and apply, and we'll send you the details for our private training on how that program works. Okay, number 3, third upgrade that you need to make to justify that premium pricing is having a system for collecting feedback and testimonials. Okay, I'm going to say collecting and using feedback and testimonials, because collecting it is not enough. We've got to use it and implement it. Okay. So what do I mean by collecting and using feedback and testimonials? And what do I mean by having a system for that? 90% of you out there are so hesitant to ask for testimonials, to ask for feedback. There's like all this, this mindset stuff. It's totally normal and totally natural. And I totally understand. That's why I always had my VA send the feedback requests. I build it into the process so much. It's streamlined to the extent that there my oven goes, my pizza is going to be ready, that I didn't have to face my fears. It just happened automatically. Okay. So we want to make sure that there's a clear endpoint to your service. And at that endpoint, what we teach, again, we teach a literal full process and give our clients literally every step of this, but I'm just going to outline it for you right now, is you want to make sure that it's clear to your client when the service ends. Okay. And if it's retainer, you would do this just like maybe a couple months in or something like that, right? It's not ending, but it's like a clear point where, okay, we're working together for a couple months. I'm going to send a survey to you to ask for your feedback, and then telling the client, first of all, don't make that the first time they've heard that they're going to be giving you feedback. Okay. Make sure that from the time that you sell them on the service and you outline your process, right, of working with you, we'll talk about the work with me page and all of that, and the sales call and all of that in a separate point. From that moment, from that time, you want to preface to the client, I'm going to be asking for your feedback. It's going to be really important for me to get your feedback so that I can improve my service. Right? I want to make the service better. I want to know what's working, what's not working, what you like, what could have been better, etc. Okay. So we want to make sure that it's an expectation we set from the beginning with our clients that we're going to be asking for this feedback. And then we do it in a systematized way. We don't just assume the client's going to do it and the client's going to tell us. We need to make sure that not only do we send a feedback form to our clients, right? And again, we have that template for you if you want to work with us. But you have a feedback form for your clients. But then not only do you have this email where you send that and you tell the client, remind them why it's so helpful for you to get their feedback. Remind them that it will only take like 5-10 minutes to fill out the form. But then you also give them a deadline for doing so. Now, I'm not going to lie. It's kind of a loose deadline, but it's there so that we can say, like, I'm sending this on Monday. Can you please fill this out by Friday? Or can you please fill this out by Wednesday? And the reason for that is I want to get your feedback. I want to make sure that this isn't just one of those things that gets like, yeah, I'll do that later. And I want to get it while it's fresh in your mind. I don't want to get it in 6 months. I mean, like 6 months, we can check in on results and all of that. That's great. But I want to get your feedback on the service and on the process of working with me while it's fresh in your mind. It's really important. Strike while the iron is hot in this process. Okay. Then why are we sending a feedback form? A, to get feedback on the service. How can I make this service even better so that I can justify a higher price, right? Also, getting a testimonial, right? You're getting both of these things from your feedback form. So we have a full process, right, of getting that feedback form and then making sure you're not just like they're giving feedback and you're never looking at it, but you're taking that feedback and then it's being turned into a testimonial, right? So we actually take the feedback we get from clients, or I used to, right? Like when I was working with one-on-one clients, we would take that feedback and I would take their language, right? And I would ask them in the feedback form, like, are you interested in providing a testimonial? Yes or no? And then I would follow up with them and say, okay, based on your feedback, because we ask really key questions in that feedback form. All right. Like, would you hire me again for your services, or would you recommend my services to a friend? If so, why or why not? Right? Like, please explain, give us a few sentences on that. Okay. You have to be really explicit with people in surveys or they'll be like, yes, because it was good. Like, please be as specific as possible. Give us a few sentences. Say that explicitly. And then we take that language, and it had this question on our Yay for 100K coaching call yesterday. It was like, Then you just like, you write a testimonial for the client. I'm like, no, I don't write a testimonial for the client. I take the language they gave me, I put it together for a testimonial, right? And like, I'll add a couple words just so it makes sense together, right? Like connecting words and things. Then I send that to the client. I say, based on the feedback you gave me, your language, not mine, based on the language you put in your feedback form, I've put together a testimonial from you. Now, you can approve this as is. You can edit it and change it based on if you don't like it, based on what you'd prefer to say. You could write a totally different testimonial. That's totally fine too. By the way, these people have already said, I would like to provide a testimonial, right? I'm not just like, you will give me a testimonial and this is what it will say. Like, that's not what we're doing. And then the client would write back, and I'm telling you, never, like sometimes they added a couple things. Like, oh, I also want to add this in. Like, cause like, there's this result that I got, like that you should know about. But 9 times out of 10, they go, looks great as is. Here's my headshot. Use it. Okay. So this is how you get testimonials from your clients. And this is what helps to justify the higher pricing is people need to see what your past clients had to say about your service. What I love about this process is it's their language, but you're making it so much easier for them than being like, hey, can you send me a testimonial? People freeze up when you ask for a testimonial because they're like, oh my God, it's like all this pressure. I don't know what to say. What would I say that would be helpful for you? What would I say that's going to like work? Like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. So you don't make it as, can I get a testimonial? You just take language they already said, right? And you put it together. And it doesn't, I'm not saying like, it's not like a ransom note. We're not like, you're literally just thinking like, oh, this is a great chunk. Oh, and that is too. Okay, let's put those 2 things. That's your testimonial, right? And you're allowing them to approve it, change it, or write a new one, right? So there's no putting words in people's mouths. I want to be really clear. So it's testimonials. So we're using those testimonials and we're using that feedback to improve our service. We're using those testimonials in our marketing. We're putting them on our Work With Me page. We're sharing them on Instagram. We're talking about them in sales emails and marketing emails and things like that, right? Like we're putting them front and center so that folks can see that people have worked with you and have very specific things to say about that isn't just like, Courtney's a great person. I love her. Like that's not helpful. I want to see like, I implemented this from Courtney and this is what happened. All right. That's what we're trying to get from those testimonials. You start getting testimonials like that using this process, you can justify higher prices because people can see the results that other people are getting from working with you. So that's number 3. Okay. Let's move into marketing upgrades. 4th upgrade that you can make is stepping up your relationship marketing. Okay. 90% of your clients are going to come from like high touch relationships and referrals when you do one-on-one services. This is not the case when it comes to launching courses. Courses, audience size, people following on social media, people on your email list, that's where those sales come from. With services, it's often, even if someone found you on Instagram, it's often going to be much more of a relation-based experience than a like, oh, I got on your email list and I followed your content. It's more like they were looking for someone who does this thing and they found you and then they're hiring you. Okay. So they're looking for that one-on-one thing. So we want to be leveraging that one-on-one marketing. So we'll talk about the Instagram thing in a second. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a list of 50 people in your immediate close network. Okay. I'm not talking just like business colleagues or people in your industry. I'm talking about like just people you know. Now it could be business colleagues. It could be that. So I want you to look at, go to Facebook, look at the people you've been interacting with, look at your friends list. It could be friends and family, literally just 50 people. I want to challenge you to do this. Okay. And I want you to look at those people and I want you to highlight anyone who you believe would be a great fit for your services, right? Remember, these are people you already know. They already know you in some capacity. And I want you to reach out to 10 of those people. Let's say the 10 that you think are the best fit. And I want you to just send them, this isn't a cold pitch, right? Like this, I want to be really clear. This isn't like, and I want you to pitch yourself. I want you to reach out to them just to ask them about the thing that you do. Ask them about their experience with the problem that you solve with your services. Okay. This isn't about you. This is about listening to them. Okay. So you send an email or you send a Facebook message or an Instagram message and say, hey, it's been a while since we talked. I don't know if you know this, but I'm doing like this work now. And I know that you've had like, you've done doing this kind of stuff in the past. I not want to like sell my services to you or anything. I just would love to like hear more from market research about like your experience with that problem. Okay. So we actually want to tell them, I'm not like, this isn't that. I just am like looking to talk to people who have had this problem. And I want to hear more about what that's like for you, what kind of solutions you were looking for, etc. This is going to warm up those relationships so that you can get those relationships to a point where then you can say, hey, like if you are interested, I'm doing this. I think you might be a good fit, but no pressure. Okay. So when you're reaching out to people cold, right? They're not cold because they already know you, but when you're reaching out to people cold, meaning like you're starting the interaction, they're not saying like, hey, I need this, right? They might have, right? They might be people who reached out to you. They could be leads from the past who reached out to you and you're just following up. But we want to make sure that it's very much about like, I want to hear about you. And that needs to be genuine. This isn't a tactic. This is about genuine human interaction and genuinely caring about other people and knowing that when you do that, that's what starts to lead to people going like, oh, I would love to hear more about your work. Okay. When people feel like they're being sold to, they shut down. So you have to redirect the conversation and make it not about being sold to, but about your genuine interest in hearing about their experience. And it has to be genuine. I need to be very clear. If you do this in a very formulaic way and it feels that way at all, they will not respond kindly. That's not a warning. It's just like, if it's genuine, it'll be fine. I promise you that. Okay. So that's the relationship marketing, is up level that by warming up some of those relationships. Okay. We're just turning on the burner, right? We're just warming up the relationship. We're not hard selling. We're warming it up. Okay. But if you follow all these other upgrades, doing that is going to start to lead to those higher paid clients, because those people might start to work with you. They might know people who need your services. It's literally just about getting awareness out there. We don't start by asking people to marry us. We start by just striking up a conversation, getting to know each other. Even if it's someone in your family that you know already really well, it's just about showing them, oh yeah, this is what I do. That's what my cousin does. Oh yeah, I love that. You know what? I actually have a friend who needs that. Why don't I refer her to you? I think you guys would work well together. That's how genuine relationship marketing happens. All right. Number 5 upgrade to make to your services is more on your online marketing, right? So we talk about relationship marketing. That's like very one-on-one outreach, starting those conversations. The online visibility, more social media versus one-on-one, is the 5th upgrade. Okay. So I'm going to ask you this. How often do you share on social media for people point blank directly how they can work with you? I don't know if you've noticed this, but at least 5 times, I'm going to guess, during this live, I have told you how you can work with me, right? I've told you, hey, if you want more on that, this is what we do with our clients, right? That's just a fact, right? Like that's just how it is. Okay. So we want to make sure that regularly you're telling your audience how they can work with you. They don't read your mind. They're not obsessed with your website. They don't know everything about your business. They don't know the decisions you've made. They don't remember what your packages are. I know you think about this stuff all day long, but you need to remember, like, they don't care that much about you. Sorry. I know it's harsh, but they don't. And they're not thinking about you obsessively all the time. So you have to constantly remind people, hey, if you want to work with me, this is how I work with people. And here's how to learn more. Okay, go here, take this action. So one great way of doing this that we teach our clients, if you use Instagram especially, is to create what I call a slew of stories. So you go in Canva, we have templates for our clients. We give them the Canva template. You create a slew of stories that you share once a week, literally once a week. You can have your VA do it. You can do it, whatever it is. It's always the same, right? Make it easy. We don't want you to avoid this because you're already avoiding selling. And we want you to share on your Instagram stories every single week, these slew of stories that tells people, hey, do you have this problem? We could work together. This is what my services look like. Here's what's included in the package. Go here to learn more. That call to action at the end is really important. I noticed some people were like, these are my services. And it's like, okay, now what? You got to tell them where to go. Okay, DM me and I'll send you the link for details. The link is in my profile. Click it. Here's the link to go to. Whatever it is, you've got to tell people explicitly where you want them to go. All right, we'll talk about the work with me page in just a second. All right. So that social media directness about this is what I do. A lot of people are so into content marketing. Like, I need to create all this content. Content's great. I teach people how to grow their lists with content marketing. Absolutely. Get it. But so much content is so indirect. It's so nurtury, but it's not hey, this is how you can hire me. This is how you can buy my thing. So I want to make sure that we're adding in that directness, that the main link in your profile is telling people like, here's how to work with me. That when I get to your website, I don't have to try to find your services. They're right there. In fact, they're on the homepage, right? Here's what we do. I wish I could show my screen really quick here. You can go to my website, CourtneyShawl.com, and you can see literally there's like the top banner. And then the next section is like, let's get you some results. Get this freebie or come work with us. That's it. Right? We don't need to make it difficult for people. We want to be very upfront. This is what we do. We're a business and this is how you can work with us. Right? Very important. Add your link to your work with me page in your email signature. Add it to the bottom of every single marketing email you send. Everywhere. It should not be a secret how people can work with you. Right? So that's your online visibility. It's just being more blunt and direct with people of how they can work with you. Not only does it remind people, but it elevates your professionalism in their minds because you're like so consistent with your message. You're not confusing. So many people are so confusing with their message because they're just not coming out and saying, this is what I do. Here's how to work with me. This is the package. Remember that one signature package. Okay. That's number 5. We're halfway through. Number 6. All right. I kind of switched these. Okay. So number 6, I called regular call to actions. I'm going to switch this because I think that's what I was saying just a second ago. Let's talk. So we'll call that regular call to actions. Let's talk more about the online visibility one in terms of like growing your visibility to get more clients. Okay. Not the call to actions to work with you, but growing your visibility to get more clients coming in online. So what this means is being really clear on who's my target client. What are their questions, hesitations, preconceptions, misconceptions, usually the same thing, hesitations and objections? What are the things that they need to know, right, in order to be ready to work with me? And then I want you to create your regular social media content based on those things. This is how we teach content. We actually teach something called your 5x5 matrix. So we talk about like, what are the fears your potential clients have? What are the misconceptions they have? What are some how-tos they really want? Like they want to learn, right? That's like the sexy content is the how-tos. But the rest of the how-tos don't necessarily drive sales, but they drive traffic. Okay. They get people seeing you as an expert, but these other things like addressing misconceptions, fears, mistakes. What are the mistakes your clients are making when they try to DIY the thing that you do, right? That they don't realize they're making. It's not their fault. They don't know any better. Like they're not an expert at that. They're doing it based on common sense. But what are those mistakes that they're making? And I want you to create content to address each of those things. This is what's going to create content that converts versus content that's just out there that looks nice, but doesn't do anything. Okay. So those are the categories in which I want you to think about creating your content for whatever platform it is that you're on. That's what the content needs to be. That's what's going to get you in front of the right people and nurture those people to be ready to work with you. All right. So upgrading that going to help you with that services packages. Why? Because in your marketing, you're addressing the things that they need to hear to be ready to work with you. So it's preparing them for those higher prices. All right. That's why that's elevating your brand. Okay. Work with me page. Number 7. You need one. That's it, right? Like you need one. Now let's get into the details. I've been teaching sales pages and work with you pages for years and years and years. This is like my bread and butter. My original sort of body of work is in copywriting and sales pages and sales page strategy. Okay. So when you create a work with me page, we want to make sure that we have the elements on that page that are giving people what they need in order to take that next action. All right. So that's very vague. What does that mean? Number one thing we need to do on your work with me page is sorry, my nose is super itchy. We need to address where are they at right now? When they're landing on that page, seriously, what I mean by that is like, what is the problem that they have? All right. So the easiest way to open a work with me page is like, do you have this problem? Like, do you need a sales page? Do you need a work with me page that books clients? Cool. And then you kind of go a little bit more into, okay, like you might be struggling with this or that. So it's not about agitating the pain point. That's gross. Okay. That just reminds me of like pimple popping or something. We're not agitating the pain point. We're empathizing with their current reality. That's what we're doing. All right. So we want to do that because that's what people go, okay, they get me. Let me keep reading. Then what we want to do is say, okay, is this a result that you want instead? Right. So you're struggling to create a sales page. I'm just kind of summarizing my sales page for sales pages. Very meta, I know. But so you're struggling to write a sales page. You'd rather stick a rusty fork in your eye than write your own sales page. You don't feel like you're a good writer. You're nervous about coming off as sleazy. You don't know what to say in order to get people to convert, right? All these things. And I know that people are saying these things because they tell me, how do we write great copy? By listening to what our audience is saying over and over again. It's not that hard after you learn the strategies. It's hard before. It's super hard. But once you start to realize, oh, I'm just like listening to people and then like repeating back what they're saying. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And with my personality, right? So second section is the opposite. It's what I call the gold, right? It's like the pot of gold. What's the result that they want? So we have to get specific about that, right? So you want a sales page that's going to book clients, or you want a sales page that's going to get you to your first 10K launch, or whatever it is. Like, what's that ultimate result? We're not promising the results, by the way. We're positioning what they desire, right? It's positioning, not promising that this is the thing that where you're at, and this is what you want. Now, then we go, here's the service that I've packaged to help you to get from here to there. Right? We're not guaranteeing anything. We're just showing this is the thing that I've created to help you to get from having like a lot of anxiety about sales pages, really struggling, knowing that your sales page isn't working, not even wanting to send people to it because you're just like, oh, this doesn't work, to being like, I am now hitting my revenue goals and I know my sales page is making all these sales for me. This is awesome, right? Like that's what we want. Okay. So then we go, this is the service. Then you need to outline the service. What was upgrade number 1? You need to have one clear signature package. You can't outline your signature package if you don't have one. This is what most people do. They go, I do this kind of service. I have this job title. Click here to book a call with me so that I can write a custom proposal. That is not selling anyone. That is not selling anyone. You're not doing the legwork of doing the packaging. You're asking your client to package your services for you when you do that. I know you don't see it that way and I totally get it, but I want to reframe that. All right. That's not helpful for the client. All right. So that work with me page, we need to outline the package. Here's what's included. Here's what the experience is going to look like from start to finish, right? These are the core steps along the process. Guess what? Step number 2, you created your step-by-step delivery process so you can share that on the sales page, right? See how all these upgrades go together, all right? The work with me page is really, really important. And also just knowing like the branding of that. Like we need to make sure it's up leveled to the degree of like what you're charging. All right. So we use lead pages. We give all our clients lead page templates, like literally like this is my page. Here's a template of my page. Now make it your own, but you don't have to build it from scratch. Lead pages is so easy. If you haven't used it, it's just drag and drop. And basically if you can work it in Google Drive, you can use lead pages. Okay. So work with me page, really important. There's more to it than that, but we need to upgrade that work with me page. And I got to wrap this up because I got to go make my pizza. All right. So number 8th upgrade that we need to make is we need to have a high converting booking conversation. So I also call these sales calls, but I'm moving towards calling them booking calls or booking chats because when you have a high converting sales or work with me page that drives people to an application form, which I didn't add on here, but that's also an upgrade we want to make, is that call to action on your work with me page is to apply to work with you. The next step is to invite those who pass your filter, they look like they're potentially a good client, to a booking conversation with you. Just a casual conversation. Now, these conversations are very low key and it's very easy and very chill, and you're not convincing people or anything on these calls. You're just having a conversation with the person after they've applied for your service on what questions they still have, making sure they understand the service, and going like, okay, let's like, are you ready to book? Like, let's look at booking. All right. Like that's it. And then on the conversation, you can book the client. You don't have to get the payment on the conversation. You can send the invoice and the contract after that. But on the call, just get that confirmation of like, yeah, I'd love to move forward. And you can say, okay, this will be our start date. Here's our boundaries. This is what you need to know. And after this call, I'm going to send you your invoice, Okay. And we give our clients all those templates for all of that. But I just want you to know that that's an upgrade you want to make, is making sure you're that organized and you are doing that on the call. We had a client who was on her sales calls. She had a signature service, all of it. And then on the calls, she was telling people she would send them a proposal. So then she was doing all this extra work when the client was already sold. And it was actually turning the client away. It was too much work. It was delaying the process. And people want to say yes. And we make it hard for them because we're so nervous to be like, okay, let's book. Right? So we just got to work on that transition of like, all right, would you like to move forward? Would you like to work together? Like you just have to have that question so they can go, yeah or no, I'd like to think about it. And that's either way is totally fine. That's not up to us to try to convince them either way. They're already convinced. They've already had your high converting work with you page. They've been through your process, all of that. We don't need to do that anymore. Okay. So then we're booking people at that higher price. Now, let's talk about upgrade number 10. And this is the one that doesn't really fit into the delivery, marketing, or sales. And this is upgrading your boundaries and your mindset around boundaries. So I want to give you an example of a client. This just happened today, actually, but it happens all the time. This is the most common thing we experience in Yay for 100K is our clients feeling really nervous saying no to their clients about like little requests or telling their clients like, hey, I don't do that. Or, hey, can you not send all the work I've done to all your friends and then send me all of their feedback? Like that's not what we do. Okay. So that specifically happened today. So we get nervous about enforcing these boundaries, usually because of some past experiences that have made us feel bad. So in this client's particular case, she's experienced working in an industry where she wasn't allowed to have boundaries with clients. Like you bent over backwards for clients. So she's learned like that's what you do. Well, that's really hard to unlearn. That's going to take some time, right? The second piece there on why we don't enforce the boundaries is because we believe we're going to upset the client. Here is the great irony. All right. This is the upgrade to make right here. It is when you do not set boundaries that you upset your clients. Your clients want clarity on what's expected of them, and your dishonesty, because that is what not setting a boundary is being dishonest about what you want. Your dishonesty with your clients is what ultimately makes them a pain in the ass, right? They get anxious. They get frustrated with you and your work. And makes them like needy, like they start asking for more things, right? Because it's not clear to them. You haven't stepped up and said, okay, this is how things work. When you do that, what's amazing and what I explained to our client today is it's amazing what happens. When you set boundaries, clients go, okay, got it. Cool. Just needed to know. Thanks for telling me. And then all of a sudden what starts to happen is they respect your time more. They appreciate the time you give them more. They go, oh, sorry to bother you. Like, let me know it's okay if this isn't included. But the thing is, when you don't set those boundaries and you say yes, all you're doing is inviting more of that in the future and guaranteeing that those clients are going to be frustrated working with you because you are not being clear in your communication. I know it can be scary at first, but it's one of those things like you just need to do it scared first, see how amazing it is. And then that upgrade is going to allow you to charge those higher prices because you're going to have more confidence in your ability to work with clients at that capacity. All right. So that right there is the coaching we do for 12 months inside of Yay for 100K, like that in a nutshell. All right. So I've got a few resources for you. Number one, our client capacity calculator that I mentioned is in the description box here. I talk about the calculator in depth in episode 18 of our Yay for Business podcast. I noticed I don't have the link in there for that. I'm going to add the direct link to that podcast episode. That's a good one. Like that's a great resource. And then if you do want to work with us, which we'd love to work with you, you can get all the details about Yay for 100K and the program, most of the details at CourtneySchaal.com/apply. That link is also in the description. And when you apply, we look at every application individually and we send you an individual email about your application. We'll give you access to our private training that you only get if you apply on how to add 100K of revenue to your business in the next 12 months that really outlines all the details of the program as well as our entire process. Super, super valuable training. That's that. Thank you so much for joining me. Gonna go make my pizza now and I will see you all. I'll see you all in those resources and hopefully see your applications coming through. Yay! Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you love today's content and are ready to finally start making a full-time income from your business this year, make sure to get on the wait list for my program, Yay for Clients, over at yayforclients.com, and you'll be notified the next time enrollment is open. Or if you're already booked with clients and you want to learn how you can turn your signature service into a signature program and add 100K of revenue to your bottom line, come apply to my group coaching program, Yay for 100K, over at CourtneySchaal.com/apply. Thanks again and have an awesome day.